Next.
Good afternoon, D&D, TikTok, and beyond. And welcome to Roll for Sandwich, the series where I let fate decide my lunch. Let's go.
That was definitely worse
Today
than the
I'm going
gummy
to be using this turquoise
frog.
set that was given to me by a viewer at Gen Con. Thanks. Let's get things started with our roll for bread. 2 freezer ends. Today from the freezer, I have a sesame seed hamburger bun. It is currently frozen, so let's toss it in the toaster using our toast bread cantrip and bring it back to life. And with that, let's hope for a better sandwich than Monday.
Nice.
Next up, let's roll for main. 4 tuna. And with it's the first roll of Season 7 that could have benefited from the Midwest salad cantrip. But we chose to drop it in favor of other spells, so I guess we're just raw dogging this tuna with no mayo. I guess only time will tell if it's worth it in the end. But today, it's dry tuna.
Wait, you dropped it? For what?
Next up, let's roll for cheese. 6 pistachio primo sale. This is a tangy and rich sheep's milk cheese with pistachios inside.
I'm not a big pistachios and cheese type of guy, but it looks good.
Pistachios set it off really nicely. I'm a little bummed that it's landing on this sandwich for the first time, but hopefully we'll get to use the rest of it on a better sandwich later. Still, could be worse. Next up, let's roll for our roughage. 2 cucumber and 6 daikon radish. We are once again going to bust out our mandolin. Don't worry, I know about the recent news about cucumbers.
You just missed a monstrosity.
I assure you, my cucumbers are safe and not one of the recalled ones. We've got our cucumber sliced up nice and thin, and it'll give us a little bit of crunch and some nice, fresh taste on our sandwich. Should be good.
That last one was...
We're going to use our mandolin to cut our daikon radish as well. Let's get... well, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting it in. It's just too big. All right, time for plan B. I'm going to go without the guard here. Daikon radishes have kind of a sweet flavor at first and then transition into a spicy, piquant flavor. Not spicy like a jalapeno, spicy like horseradish. Should be an interesting addition to this sandwich, though I question if this combination of roughage is the right one for this. All right, time to get wild with the wild magic roll. 15, TMNT.
Dude, this thing keeps popping up like crazy.
Turtles, the dice really love the turtles. The dice really love the turtles. We keep rolling it. Turtle power. And last but not least, it's the D20 sauce roll. Here we go. 8, Flavor Town. Yes, that Flavor Town. We have one of Guy Fieri's Flavor Town sauces. This one is the Carolina barbecue sauce. Whoa there, Guy. Got a little excited, huh? I'm a fan of vinegar-based barbecue sauces, so this should be okay. Let's get our sandwich closed up. Get our toothpicks in to hold it together. And let's get it cut in half. And let's take a look at that cross-section. Oh, awesome cheese. Well, it's definitely not the unholy abomination that we had on Monday, but whether it's going to be great or not, I guess we'll find out. Let's give it a taste.
I actually don't know how this one's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing inherently bad about it. The sauce is nice. That cheese is really great. Dry tuna, I mean, it definitely could have used mayo or some other sauce. Cucumber and radish, though, are not really carrying their weight here. Could have used something more interesting. Even some pickle would have picked this up quite a bit. Otherwise, it's just a lot of bland. And even the power of Guy's defrosted tips couldn't save us from this one. I guess on our way to Flavor Town, we stuck to the middle of the road.
6.3?
I'm going to try to not let the trauma from Monday influence my decision too much, but I'm going to give this one a 5.6. And there's only one thing I got to call it, which is the Dungeons and Dragons and Diners and Drive-Ins and Dives. Thanks for hanging out today, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again on Friday.
Hey, close. So my first guess.
Good afternoon, D&D, TikTok, and beyond, and welcome to Roll for Sandwich, the series where I let fate decide my lunch. Let's go. Today, I'm going to be using these awesome food dice that are inspired by the anime Delicious in Dungeon that Elf and Moon Game Store in Indianapolis gave me. Thanks.
Those are cool dice.
Let's get started with our roll for bread. 4, Texas Toast. Texas toast being double the thickness of regular bread means usually when you toast it up, the inside stays soft. I quite enjoy it, so that's definitely what we're going to do today.
Really?
There they are, ready to go. Next up, let's roll for main. 12, butter the bread and re-roll. Definitely glad we decided to toast the Texas toast. This will be nice, adding butter right to warm toast. It'll also create a nice moisture barrier in case we get a main that's on the wetter side. Either way, happy to have butter on this one today. Hopefully it's a sign of good things to come. All right, here's our re-roll. 8, roast beef. After decades, the age-old question can finally be answered. It's right there.
Like it.
Next up, let's roll for cheese. 6, pistachio primo sale. Well, so far, this is looking like a much nicer sandwich to have this sheep's cheese on. I fear it was wasted on dry tuna earlier, but on roast beef, I think I can get it with this.
Hey, it's looking good so far.
Next up, let's roll our roughage. 5 pickled onions and 8 lettuce. Got some lettuce fresh from the garden that I collected earlier. It'll add a nice subtle
I'm not a big
crunch.
pickled
I'm a big fan of pickled red onion. The sweetness and spice from the onions melds really well with the vinegar. And this sandwich is needing a little acid. Plus, they've got a nice color. Let's get wild with our wild magic roll. 10 chopped. All right, once we roll for our sauce, we'll come back here and chop up our ingredients, mix our sauce in, and add it back to the bread. And last but not least, the D20 sauce roll. Here we go. 10 Korean barbecue drizzle sauce. This is a slightly sweet and salty soy-based sauce. It's pretty good, but we got chopped, so I think I'm going to use the second sauce spell. That lets me roll 2 D20s for another sauce and take the better result. All right, here we go. Rolling with advantage. Nat 20. The other one went out of the frame. It's a 5, but it doesn't really matter because I rolled a 20. So I get to pick. Well, for sure, I'm going to go with Kewpie mayo. This rich, savory mayo
always goes with Kewpie mayo.
It'll go great hand in hand with that Korean drizzle sauce. All right, let's get the contents of our sandwich chopped up. I'm using my Alaskan ulu that was made for my wife and I as a wedding present by my uncle-in-law. Now that everything's chopped up into smaller pieces, we're going to transfer to a different container to add our sauces. I can say with a fair degree of certainty that this will probably be pretty tasty. Chopped is an interesting roll. Although it doesn't add any new flavors to the equation, it greatly changes the textural experience and the distribution of sauce.
I feel like this is going to be gas.
We had a dry one on Wednesday. This one will be anything but dry.
Am I crazy?
The downside of the chopped roll, well, it's definitely going to make this one messy, a little harder to eat, a little harder to hold together than solid slices of roast beef and cheese. Well, we'll find out at the taste test if it was a net positive or not. All right, let's go ahead and get our sandwich closed up here. Get our toothpicks in to hold it together. And let's go ahead and get it cut in half.
I feel like it's going to be fire.
And let's take a look at that cross-section. Well, you gotta love finishing off a sandwich on a nat 20, especially one you burnt a spell on. Hopefully, it was all worth it.
Dude, this is going to be a 10.
Well, it is definitely a messy one, but a tasty one nonetheless. The roast beef with that Korean drizzle sauce almost has like a beef and broccoli flavor when you add in the lettuce. The cheese and the Kewpie mayo add a nice amount of savory, and those pickled onions cut through all the fat. It's a really good mix. On top of that, we've got a thick but soft bread and a layer of butter to help it not get soggy.
It's
I
think
we managed to thread the needle on this one, folks. I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10.
I told you it was going to be gas.
Thanks for hanging out with me this week, everybody. I hope you have a great day.
I told you.
Again on Monday.
Dude, I kind of want to go make that. I'm not going to lie. That is the first sandwich I've seen in a long time where I want to make that now. All right, let's go.
Good afternoon, D&D, TikTok, and beyond, and welcome to Roll for Sandwich, the series where I let fate decide my lunch. Let's go. Today's dice are a little bit different than usual. I'm using scented dice from Baron Smelly Bones. I have a lot of different dice, but these are my first scented dice, and let me tell you.
That's a thing?
They smell great. These ones smell like pipe tobacco, and I can't wait to use them in a campaign for my next wizard. Today, though, we're going to see how good of a sandwich they can make. So, let's go. Let's get things started with our roll for bread. 1, roll for each slice. All right, let's roll for each slice. 4 Texas toast and 5 sourdough. Not the weirdest combination I've ever had with single slices of bread, though I imagine it might end up a little unwieldy. I'm going to use the sourdough as the base. Next up, let's roll for main. 7 Canadian bacon. All right, first thing we got to do is
I love me some Canadian bacon.
Here. Though technically cooked, I find it's better when you sear it in a pan first. After just a couple minutes, it's ready to go. We'll get a nice layer of it on our sandwich and move on to cheese while the bacon is still warm. Let's roll for our cheese. 1 provolone. Provolone is not a bad roll at all. I know it's 1 on the list right now, but I use what I have, and when I have more than 6 cheeses, I'm going to use those first. Let's roll roughage. 7 fresh basil and 11 none. I believe this is the same roughage roll we had on our cotton candy sandwich. Hopefully, that's not a bad omen. As it stands currently, this should be a decent sandwich. Let's see how we finish it out. Let's get wild with the wild magic roll. 8 extra sauce. Ooh. All right, so extra sauce means we're going to roll for 2 different sauces today.
Okay.
Hopefully they go together. Let's roll for sauce number 1. 11, Alaskan bullwhip hot sauce.
Dude,
we've hit this Alaskan bullwhip kelp hot sauce quite a few times already. It's nice and savory and has quite a bit of spice using peri peri pepper. It's been a pretty decent addition here, and maybe having a second sauce will help mellow that out. All right, and last but not least, it's the D20 sauce roll. Here we go.
Why is one of the options milk?
9, tamarind peach hot sauce. Well, another hot sauce was not really what I was hoping for here. Though these are both enjoyable on their own, I'm wondering how they're going to work together.
Spicy sandwich.
Let's get our sandwich closed up here. Get our toothpicks in to hold it together, and let's get it cut in half.
A fire sandwich.
And let's take a look at that cross-section. Well, it looks halfway decent. Last week, we really hit both ends of the spectrum. This week seems we're starting out okay. Let's see how it tastes.
I think it's going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. These two hot sauces don't really mesh well. And honestly, it's too much spice. There's not really anything to cut it. A creamy sauce or even some roughage like tomato would do wonders here. Flavor-wise, those sauces clash, and then you have basil, which is also not really playing nice. It's not horrible, but it's not really good either. Considering that some of the worst sandwiches have happened on a Monday, I'll take it. If the week's gonna start out fairly plain, that's okay with me. I'm gonna give this one a 4.8, and I'm gonna call this one the Sauced Cause. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm going to be performing live in Grand Rapids, Michigan at GrandCon. There'll be a live roll for sandwich all 3 days, and I'll also have a booth set up there where you can meet me and buy some merch. I'd love to see you there. Have a great day, and I'll see you on.
That was pretty good. Chat, I might make this one last one. I'm getting hungry.
Afternoon.
Dude. I'm kind of getting hungry now. Honestly, I'm.
Good
might make this one last one.
TikTok and beyond, and welcome to Roll for Sandwich, the series where I let fate decide my lunch. Let's go. Today's episode of Roll for Sandwich is sponsored by Brotherwise Games and the Cosmere role-playing system. That's right, Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere has finally been adapted into a role-playing game, starting with the Stormlight Archive and Mistborn. This living RPG will continue to expand as Brandon writes more books. They are currently in the final days of funding on Kickstarter, so head to the link in my bio and don't miss your chance to back this project today. Appropriately for today, we're going to use a set of the Cosmere role-playing game dice. Let's see what they can make for us.
Oh, these aren't the smell dice, right?
Bread.
They look like the smell dice,
5,
but
sourdough. All right, got these 2 lovely pieces of sourdough ready to go. We're going to toast them up using our toast bread cantrip. And there we have it, some toasted sourdough to kick off our Wednesday.
A little bit.
Next up, let's roll for Maine. 7, Canadian bacon. Back again with the Canadian bacon. Let's talk about that for a second. What this is actually pork loin, and it got its name when it was imported from Toronto to New York City, back in the days when Toronto was the major pork processing center of Canada. I know you Canadians have regular bacon, and I know you have pea meal bacon. I didn't name this stuff. That's just what we call it. Next up, let's roll for cheese.
True.
5, Havarti. Havarti's not a bad roll. These are nice thin slices, so they should melt a little bit since our bacon's still hot. On track for a decent sandwich so far.
Looking good.
Let's roll for roughage. 3 carrots and 8 lettuce. First off, we're going to peel our carrot, get rid of that outer skin. Then we're going to get out our Mando lid so we can slice our carrots nice and thin. These should be an okay addition to our sandwich so far. They'll add a decent crunch and just a slight sweetness. I've definitely had worse.
Isn't like ideal,
Next, we've got
but it's
some
all
of
right.
our garden fresh lettuce. Is good. It's a little plain, but nothing to complain about. All right, let's get wild with our wild magic roll. 3, crabs. These are dried crab snacks from Japan.
Bro, I've eaten these. I had to eat one of these for Karku's challenge thing. And I don't dry heave very easily. I have a very strong stomach. I dry heaved in that video. You see it. Like I'm off to the side, like on one of the shots, and I go like, after it was so bad. It just the fishy smell. Taste lingers. It's like tries to be sweet, but it's super fishy. Stuck in my teeth.
They consist of small soft shell crabs that are dried, and you eat them just straight like this, shell and all. Definitely seems like something they'd eat on Rashar. Not sure I want to. And last but not least, it's the D20 sauce roll. Here we go.
Oh no.
12, Kewpie mayo.
Oh,
well, I guess the Stormfather decided to be merciful with our sauce roll at least. Kewpie pretty much makes any sandwich better, though this one's going to need, I think, more help.
You know what? That's a lot of Kewpie mayo, but I respect doing that right now.
Let's get it closed up.
I respect it. You know what? You're just like, Dude, I don't know.
Get our toothpicks in to hold it together, and let's get it cut in half.
You can hear it crunching. Oh my goodness.
And let's take a look at that cross section. Oh. Well, I tried one.
But let's say hypothetically you had a stuffed bear wearing a Bass Pro Shop hat, and hypothetically one day you woke him up and he was right next to you and asked you if you wanted to go fishing. Would you trust him? Would you go with him? The bear is talking to me? No, I would not.
One of those crabs by themselves, and it was unpleasant. Very concentrated crab flavor and felt like chewing eggshells. But maybe with everything else on the sandwich, it won't be so bad. Let's give it a taste.
Here, watch the crab realization. Watch. Oh, yep, there it is.
That is the crunchiest sandwich that has been on the show so far. And not really in a good way. Shattered plains, more like shattered roof of my mouth. I have to say the other ingredients do cover up the intense crab flavor pretty well. So much so, this one doesn't actually taste that bad. It's quite a chewing experience though. This one's kind of difficult because it really does get a lot better as a sandwich, but I still don't recommend anybody make a sandwich like this. I already did, so
we have 4-1.
Trust me, it's really not worth it. I'm a bit conflicted, but I think I'm going to give this one a 3.5. That Kewpie's doing a lot of work. And I'm going to call this one the Cremling Crunch. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great day. I'm off Friday and Monday for the holiday weekend, so I'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, that's why he loaded up the Kewpie mayo. Honestly, I respect it. I respect it, so you don't have to taste that much. All right, chat, that made me hungry. I'm gonna go make food.